What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of 49ers Unfiltered. I am Aaron of 49ers First Takes. I am joined by my co host, Mike of SF Goldrush, and special guest, Benjamin Camperman from the Camper Report. Uh, he's been on YouTube quite a bit. I haven't done a show with you in probably 3 years. But he's going to join us today for the next hour or so. We'll talk a lot about the Aldon Smith situation. None of us have really reacted to it, at least online in this capacity. So, we're going to do that. It might touch a little bit on the Ayuk thing if it seems right. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like it might not be emotionally right for us to talk about that guy after talking about Aldon Smith, but we'll see. But everybody, how you guys doing?
Great, man. Great. Glad to have Benjamin on and add another wheel to the wagon here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Aldon Smith we'll get to the official topic, but I will say that like he was like my first introduction to Niners football because when he was really big, I was like 5 years old. He was my first memories. That first 49ers Super Bowl team was like my first memories of the 2012 Niners Super Bowl team was my first memories of the Niners and kind of my fandom. And so I'll let you guys lead off with this one because I don't even really know I wasn't really a huge in tune fan. And I wasn't really online during that time and really keeping huge track of him, but he was my first memories of the Niners. So
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rocking the 99 today in memory of Aldon Smith. He was definitely one of my favorite pass rushers. I just remember vividly watching that show Game Changer when he was coming out to the draft, and it was him and I think Steve Mariucci was hosting it, and they were doing a pre-draft interview, and I think Warren Sapp had him do like some workouts or whatever. And they had another prospect. I think he went to the Bills. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was like the top prospect at the time on the defensive line. I think he played more defensive tackle, but they were kind of bickering back and forth. And I just remember like, who's this Aldon Smith guy? Because he's like, I think I'm the best defensive player in this draft. And I'm like, damn, who the heck is this guy? Like, I'm like, I've never even heard of him. And his attitude was just so positive about himself. And he's like, yeah, the only reason why I didn't perform at this level is I got hurt or something in college, and that's the only reason why. But he had a basketball background, and then when we selected him in the draft, I was like, oh shit, that's the guy that was on that show. And I'm like, that's pretty crazy because I thought there was some better players available. He wasn't the big name, and yeah, he just instantly became a superstar. And it was just so incredible to watch. I remember hearing reports from training camp, them talking about the one-on-ones when he was going against Joe Staley, and everyone was like jaw dropped and in awe of like his power, his pass rush, his wingspan, just his ability to get to the quarterback in camp against the best left tackle at the time, Joe Staley. So, I mean, man, what a talent! What a talent he was.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate too because he's been through a lot of stuff in his life, dealing with a lot of things, and so you hear people get back on their feet and they're doing well, and then to have something like this happen to him was not something I expected to see. Um, it's funny that 2012, 2011, 2012 season was a special time for the 49ers, as we all know, because we had been bad for so long.
Yep.
And to have someone, a fresh new star of that era, that's what he was. It was like he was like the next great Hall of Fame 49er level player. And it's unfortunate that that era of 49ers football only lasted like 3 years
Quick.
because of Harbaugh and Jed York and stuff. But he was an amazing player. Just could have been generational. And it's
Yeah.
really sad. So the story first of all, I want to put this up on screen. So he was at like an outreach program. I don't know if it was like for kids that exactly the situation, but like underprivileged kids or people in a hard situation. Delivering pizzas. Um, and then the story goes he passed away not too shortly after. So I got a little bit of the information here. It says on June 13th, 2026, Aldon Smith joined a longtime friend Amir Shazar to deliver pizzas. What does it say? The Cham Deliverance Ministry in San Jose to serve the homeless. And so they did that. And it says in the article or in the bite, sound bite or paragraph, whatever, that he was feeling somewhat. They said he was somewhat lethargic, like he looked lethargic or he was acting lethargic. And then it says after the event here, it says that after the charity event, Smith and his cohort, I think his name is Shazia, I don't know, stopped at a gas station and then went to his friend's home in Los Gatos. He went into the house, his friend, to get something. And when he came back to the car or the truck that he was in, Aldon Smith was kind of like slumped over, mouth open, kind of shaking and not responsive. And as we all know what happened. So could it be anything from a medical emergency, Mike, to who knows what? And like, I am not going to speculate because I think it's like super disrespectful to speculate. And I'm not even going to comment really, with my mental health stuff because we just don't know. We have no idea what happened.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's very sad. I mean, just imagine, that guy, he got out of his car, went inside his house, and he comes back, and the guy that he's riding with is essentially dead in the passenger seat. That's got to be pretty crazy. I know they said like Anthony Bobby Dixon was there.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of weird. I don't know how that tied in, but they're trying to do CPR to revive him at the time, and it was all in good faith, but it just didn't work out. And unfortunately, one great talent from the 49ers is no longer with us, and it's sad because Aldon, in every interview he's ever done, you could tell he was such a good person at heart. He wasn't that arrogant, cocky, just full of himself guy, which he honestly had every right to be for how fast he ascended in the NFL. But he kept it very cool, and even after he left the NFL, he just seemed very humble. And I don't know if you saw the report. I guess he was at rookie minicamp, a couple
Yeah,
days ago, right?
Yeah.
And or last week, and talking to the rookies and stuff, and that's pretty amazing. I appreciate that the Yorks and Kyle and John wanted him to come and be part of the family still, and give his advice to the young guys out there that are coming into the league. It's just it's really a crazy story, and it sucks, man. I know Justin Smith recently talked about Aldon Smith as well, talking about how he talked to him recently. When Justin Smith was on the podcast, I think that was when he was talking about how he like burned all of Joe Staley's furniture or something at his house, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I still talk to Aldon, here and there." So it's like, man, all these guys are still in touch with each other, and it's just like, it sucks, man. It's just what happened.
To me, it's nothing's better than a comeback story, right? Like when someone's struggling and they come back and they come back better than ever. I mean, he had issues with, I think it was alcohol that he dealt with. Had some issues with the law. I mean, this guy's freaking woman, I think, cheated on him with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
that whole
imagine that guy is, huh?
Look, man, say what you want about that, and people can make comments like that has nothing to do with football. Bro, I worked in a situation where a girl I was with started having feelings for another dude where I was working at the same place. They eventually went out, and it caused a big old to-do. It affects you. I don't care what you say,
Absolutely, it does.
especially when it's thrown in your face. And
Especially for a guy who's on the edge, right?
yeah, someone
Aaron?
who like easily, because I have issues with my anger and stuff like that. The one thing I don't like being, I'm always kind of, I have a little what they would call a case of the red ass. Doesn't take much to set me off. So like, I'm fighting that demon to not let that come out, and I'm sure he had that same problem. And like,
Absolutely,
that's like a slap in the face.
100%. They were from the same draft class, and
Yeah,
he did that to him. That's
who
crazy.
would do that? Like, I wouldn't do it. Some of his accomplishments: he's a 2012 NFC champion, 2012 first team All Pro and Pro Bowler, 2012 sack leader with 19 and a half, a Niners single season record, 2011, what does it say? Defensive Rookie of the Year, 14 sacks, second most ever by an NFL rookie.
How did we not get a ring, Aaron, with him and Justin Smith? How is that possible?
Because
How?
Big Mouth Dante Whitner and the rest of that defense decided not to show up in the beginning of that game.
Oh my God!
All these guys that Dante always mouthing off, talking about stuff, and this man, like, they didn't show up in the beginning of that Super Bowl. And Joe, remember, Justin Smith was hurt too, so
yep, I know
that was
he
that
playing
situation.
with one arm.
Yeah, and they were like a perfect combination with each other. As far real quick, the guy that was here, Benjamin, for some reason he's having technical difficulties, so he hasn't returned. I really wanted to get his observation on this. This is a video somebody released, kind of soft music on it, just kind of shows some highlights. So I'm going to play it because I think it's, it's respectful.
Yeah,
I saw some stuff with like some rap music and this and that. I'm like, it doesn't really fit. I'm not putting that on screen. It just didn't seem right. So, but there's that. Oop. Let's tab this thing. That sucks.
what a stud, man.
Nice music, whoever put that out there. Way to permanently depress 49er fans. Man, you watch that and the greatness it could have been.
He single-handedly terrorized Aaron Rodgers. Just, oh God, I remember
that video of him taking down freaking
Ben
Roethlisberger was like he hoisted it, man, in the air and slammed him. It was beautiful. Man,
and for all the Rams fans out there, if you guys don't know who that was that he sacked, that was Sam Bradford. Just in case you jumped on the bandwagon a little late.
Yeah, when you guys weren't fans of your own team 10 years ago or 12 years ago
he was the quarterback before Jared Goff.
Yeah, so we all know half of you weren't fans before that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Seattle. The 12th man. Y'all didn't exist until Sherman and those boys got there, so I don't even want to hear that 12th man trash. Hey, they did win the Super Bowl, though, so I got to give them their props, but that's sad. That's so sad.
Super sad, man. Super sad. And the crazy thing is, I'm sure you remember hearing when Trent and Joe, when they said, who is the hardest person there was to block, and they both said it at the same time, and it was Aldon Smith. It's just like, this guy was an absolute monster on the field, and the Niners had a chance to have their next, generational pass rusher, and just things didn't work out, unfortunately. And he had his inner demons like everyone does, and just unfortunately his took more control of him than other people.
Man-tarded. Great name, by the way.
Man.
He said Aldon is my personal Hall of Fame. He would have 500 sacks if he could have stayed on the field. Yeah, people have their own demons, man. And that's, like I said, I'm always about the comeback story. I'm all about people, what do they call it? Like the Phoenix, or is that famous, like, or people rising from the ashes, having us. I really hope that it wasn't something like, drug related or something, because that would
hope
suck.
So, man. I mean, either way, it's,
and even if it was, I mean, story. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
people slip and things happen, and
he was doing more good for people at his lowest point than a lot of people do at their highest point. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Look at what he was doing the day before he died, or the day of his death, and it's pretty remarkable when he wasn't even doing that well himself. Aaron, honestly, I had no idea he was in that bad a shape financially, and living in a motel. I had no idea that he had already ran out of money.
When was
doing roofing jobs and stuff? I had no idea about that.
Was this new? I didn't know about that. When was this?
Yeah,
this is new news?
Yeah, so he was I guess he was staying in hotels and in Texas and working, going door to door, advertising for roofing jobs, trying to, get people to redo their roofs and stuff. And
which there's nothing wrong with that kind of lifestyle.
No.
But to
absolutely not. But I'm just saying, I didn't know Aldon Smith was at that level. I thought he had made enough money. Maybe he was, he had some investments or whatever. I know he had his alcoholism. That's one thing, but people can still function and deal with their money properly. But I guess he ran through all of his money, and he was pretty much damn near homeless and staying with other people and stuff like that. So I had no idea it was that bad for him.
How did he die? No, it hasn't been released yet, but essentially, story was, if you're still here, I don't even know what your name is. I don't even know. You don't have a name.
Emoji.
Man. The story was they were going to a place to help homeless kids. It was like some outreach program, and he was delivering pizzas. They said he was somewhat lethargic. Returned home with the guy that he went there with, a longtime friend. His friend went into the house, and when he came out of the house, he was mouth open, slumped over in his seat, unresponsive. They said shaking or something like that. And he wasn't able to be revived. That does sound like something Mike can, but then again, it could have he had a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, if he was lethargic throughout the day, that is consistent with having, some type of, maybe blood pressure issues, stuff like that. So
you never know. Heart issues up until he died. When he died, and he would get lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean, that's just it's consistent with some type of heart problem. So you never know. I guess we just got to wait and see.
Lori says, I know the 49ers Foundation was personally helping him. I'm glad to see so many players staying in his corner. When you're a good person who's struggling, people know that. When you're an a-hole and you're struggling, people know that too.
Yeah.
All I've ever heard about him is he was a good guy.
Yep.
He just had his demons, which we all do. Everybody has their own demons and things that they go through. And it's just sad because we have no idea what kind of trajectory his life was on or where it could have gotten. So, man, to hear that, it was tough. It was so out of the blue too. You weren't even at your phone. I messaged you hey, you want to do a stream tomorrow? Talk about, and you're like, wait, I didn't have service all day. What the heck just happened?
Yeah, my phone was blowing up. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I can't believe that happened. And I know he was just on a barbershop podcast. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I didn't.
They asked him, oh, what's going on? How you doing? And he's like, oh, not too good. I've been better. And the guy's like, you want to talk about it? It's a barbershop, man. This is where you come vent. That's where the boys go and you talk with whatever you got to talk. And he was like, nah, I'm blessed. I'm good. And that was just, my heart kind of sank, when I heard that. I was like, damn, he's really going through it. He's really going through it. And he's so selfless that like he didn't even want to burden the barber or the podcast, like he's like, no, this is not the time or place. Like, yeah, I can easily say a pity story and have people feel sorry for me, but he's like,
Yeah.
no.
And there's people idiots out there that would have gave him grief.
Yeah,
for
but
it,
he was so, selfless about that. And that made it even harder to deal with this. You know what I mean? He's just such a good dude.
he had his problems, and he didn't want to put that burden on other people by telling them about those problems as a sign of a good person. But from someone who deals with mental health issues, not saying that's what it was, but like you gotta let people know when you're struggling. It's not it has nothing to do. Just some people are different. Some people would rather not talk about their problems. I'm a very open individual. Sometimes I tell people about things even when they don't want to hear about them. It's just like, but he seemed like the type of guy that he didn't want to burden people. And, I hope he didn't suffer. I hope it was a quick situation where he was just with us at one point and then gone the next. Yeah, I would hate to think that he suffered it, because if he did, that sucks, because he didn't deserve that kind of ending. It just sucks, man. That was a special time, that team, that little bubble of time with Harbaugh and that squad. It could have been something special. It could have been really something special. And it's like,
I'm still waiting for like the reporters to like talk about exactly what went down. Right? Oh, we got him back. All right.
My apologies, guys. Technically, I had to restart my computer. Anyway, continue on.
No, I mean, what was your reaction to the news when you heard about the situation with Aldon Smith? Because we've been talking reaction and what it could have been. We talked a little bit about what like the situation, the medical situation that his friend said that he was going through, and how are you feeling like about all that? Because you said you were a young guy. You were like what, 4 years old?
Yeah, 5 years old when they make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
that's crazy, bro.
I've been at work today. The last I heard about his situation was that his friend went to turn off lights in his house, and then he came back and he had died in the car. And then the other thing that I had heard was the story. Also, he was donating pizzas to people in the community, and he had been doing construction beforehand for a couple of years in Texas. That's the whole story, correct?
Yeah, that's what Mike. So is he? They were at an outreach place for homeless children, children that deal with homelessness. They said he wasn't feeling well when he was there. Like he was somewhat out of it. Or what's the word? Lethargic. And then, like you said, they went back to the friend's house. The friend went to go inside, and when he came back, he was slumped over. That's like, man, really? That just
would that be a stroke?
Could be a lot of things, man. It could have been. I don't want to speculate about drugs because that's not right.
Yeah.
Heart attack, like you said, a stroke. It could be anything. Maybe he had a congenital issue that we didn't know about that maybe we'll find out. Heart problems. I mean, heart problems run in my family. My dad died at 59 from congestive heart failure. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Anything is possible. It's just I hope it's not something where like, it's drugs or something, because then that's not that it changes anything for me, but like then it's like you think about it, it's like, man, it was avoidable. You know what I mean? When it comes to drugs or alcohol, it's like, oh, it was avoidable. When it's something that like you can avoid and it's just like a medical situation that happens, and you feel, I can't say you feel less bad, but when it's something that could have been stopped by just not doing a said drug or whatever, that's when it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say with athletes, like you said, it could have been multiple things. I every year, because I'm a distance runner at the college that I run for, and every single year we have to be tested for sickle cell. And that started showing up. There were some cases where a couple athletes just dropped dead because they had underlying cases of sickle cell. Also, we talked, I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but the whole brain injury thing, and Alex Smith is actually really invested in the sciences now that are coming out, and they're trying to treat Alzheimer's for people that have gotten too many brain injuries. It's a whole non-for-profit, or not, maybe it's not a non-for-profit, but he's very invested in medicine for brain trauma injuries. Alex Smith is. And so it could have been, there's so many things with just athletes in general. Potentially since he was a football player, it could have been something to do with, steroids or whatever. And we're not going to speculate on drugs, but yeah, it could have been a multiple amount of things. And then football is just a dangerous sport. I mean, my parents never made me play it.
I wasn't allowed to play either.
Yeah. So it's just, it's tough to see because, mental, I mean, I know he's, there was speculation that he struggled with mental health, and, I've even experienced that a little bit within my family. And it's just, it's never okay to see. I mean, a guy, with the amount of talent that he had, 19 sacks, was one of the many great draft picks that Jim Harbaugh made when he got to the Niners, and then, had two really, really elite seasons, a guy like that, and then to die so young, it's just, it's tragic. So.
Yeah. As far as like concussions, CTE, there was a guy who used to be a wrestler in WWF, and he got some concussions, so he retired. His whole gimmick, I always forget his name. His gimmick was his college that he went to, and he really was a college, like smart kid. He ended up getting into the study of brain issues, especially around the Chris Benoit situation, with all like the NFL players that were dropping dead.
Yeah.
All those issues at the NFL when they got sued up the ass with all that stuff. He was one of the people that called Chris Benoit, the wrestler's dad, and asked to study his brain. And his brain was so heavily damaged from concussions that they said that his brain had the look of a person who was in their 70s with Alzheimer's because of that many concussions. It was like mush, dude. Your brain dies if it gets enough. So it could be anything. I don't know if like concussions could lead to somebody passing away from a heart attack. I don't think that has any correlation, but I'm sure that he had, football's a dangerous sport. We all know that. Like, I wasn't allowed to play it. I was
2 years.
I was over 6 foot tall in high school, but I weighed about 130 pounds. So I was never going to, I was the right height, but I definitely wasn't the right build. And, I'm sure we'll get the autopsy report in the next couple weeks, a month or so. Speculation is going to be running rampant. I haven't seen a lot of people even people that I don't like that do media. There isn't a lot of, respectfully, there hasn't been a ton of speculation because, how some people like to run with stuff because it gets clicks.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been pretty respectful about the situation. So I think I like that. I appreciate that. Some people actually have a little bit of a moral compass. Smith was Trent Baalke's pick. Jim wanted Cap.
That's true.
They got both.
Okay.
Yeah. That's technicality, but yeah. I know. That's
semantics.
You got to give Trent credit for that one, for him to find Aldon Smith.
He was one of the worst drafters of all time, even worse than this regime. But
was he?
Yeah. all the ACL guys. Yeah, he had a lot of those
guys.
Found
a lot of good dudes.
No, it technically was Scott McLuhan. It wasn't Baalke. Go look at it. Scott McLuhan made a lot of those picks that you saw on that team. The Patrick Willises, the Gores, and all that stuff.
That defense was so loaded. My word.
Yeah, it was. It was an incredible. They had a pretty. The secondary was pretty garbage, though. That team. I don't know if you guys have looked back at that team. They didn't have the greatest
Deshaun
secondary.
Goldson was pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goldson was legit.
And what was that guy? Oliver. What was his name? Oliver.
Was he a corner? Chris Culliver?
Yeah. Chris Culliver.
He was good for like a year and a half.
And Tremaine Brock.
Or Brown.
No, Tremaine Brock. I mean, he was a corner, and there was.
I don't know. Terrell Brown. I'm thinking Terrell Brown.
There was Terrell Brown too, and then there was the dude, the Carlos Rogers.
Yeah, we traded for him, right?
Yeah. I think he was from Buffalo. Yeah. Oh man. It just sucks, man. It's an unfortunate situation. I don't want to transition, but we might. You go from someone beloved in 49er history to somebody who's not really beloved by anybody but the Commanders fans right now, and that's of course our friend of the program of everybody's podcast lately, Mr. Brandon Ayuk.
This fucking guy again, Aaron.
Okay, so I know he released a video of himself dancing, but I think from the last time we talked, Mike. The last time we talked, I don't know if he had released the one where he was talking about the Niners are going to get that belt and all that other stuff. And then, of course, he released the video talking about they mad because they stupid because they paid him.
Yep. For doing nothing, which is
Ben,
great. I'm sure the 49ers lawyers are like salivating at that, right?
Right. And all he has to do is show up. The longer he doesn't show up, it's better for the Niners financially. So,
well, he has to submit his paperwork to be reinstated first before he can even show up.
Right. What do you think of all the whole situation, Ben? You're a young guy. I've been around a lot longer, so I've seen a lot of crazy athletes.
I said this yesterday when I was doing a show, and it's a team. I mean, if you look at it from a team game, this isn't even, because I was seeing something that Grant Cohn said, and I do still listen to his podcast, but I was seeing something that he said, and what'd you say?
I said to each his own, right?
Yeah. I was still listening to, so I was listening to that, and he said, this is going to drag into the offseason. They should just cut him. He's a little bit of a cancer. He's going to start becoming a story that you don't want in the locker room. And I actually disagree with that, because the thing growing up playing team sports, I played basketball. And if you make yourself above the team, that's one thing. Like, you can hold out against the Niners. You can, negotiate like Trent Williams, like Deebo Samuel said. But as soon as you make yourself above the team, like a guy like Devondre Campbell did a couple years ago, and you make yourself above the team, I mean, anyone who's played team sports knows that's just probably one of the only no-nos that you will make. I mean, there's a lot of no-nos, but that's one where it's like, I don't think it's actually going to be a big story in the locker room, because everyone knows this guy drug it out to something that it never should have came to this point. It just not showing up to rehab, and then whatever the Niners might have done against him. There were a litany of other ways you could have handled this to not make yourself look like, can I cuss on this show?
Go ahead.
I do it all
jackass. The time. Like, it's just,
Mike goes in swears in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my whole viewpoint on it. I mean, maybe the Niners behind closed doors really were, not super professional to him, whatever. But if you listen to even the guy Alex Boone talk when he was in contract negotiations, the Niners they'll bring up stuff about your performance, your play in contract negotiations, and maybe Brandon took that to heart. But
that's fair. It's negotiations.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he took it a little too far. He took it extra. And now I don't even know if the Commanders are going to want to pick him up, because you're now dealing with a guy who hasn't played football and probably won't play football this year at a high level. And once you're out of the league for like 2 years, I would love to know the stat of players that return after 2 years and are still
and that injury that he's coming back from too.
Oh yeah, I mean, terrible. That's that injury is up there with the Nick Chubb injury that he suffered with his.
He blew out everything in his knee. Ayuk.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb. The other thing too, guys, is remember Adam Peters and John Lynch and Kyle. They're friends. And what Ayuk is doing to the 49ers is ultra disrespectful. And to have somebody on another team go and pick up this guy after what he just did to your former employer, right? The team that gave you your stepping stone to be a general manager in the NFL. I think that's kind of a slap in the face to John and Kyle as well. If Adam Peters was to go, hey Ayuk, you're safe over here, buddy. We'll take you. Dude, no. There should be a gentleman's agreement. Look, bro, this guy disrespected us. He's doing things the wrong way. This cannot set a precedent in the NFL for someone to act like this. He literally stole millions of dollars from us, and he's bragging about it on social media, flaunting his cash, laughing about it. Aha, you know, I only had to show up for this much and you paid me all this money, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's really disrespectful. And you would hope the NFL, I mean, at least the inner circle of people who've worked with each other closely would be like, you know what, we're not touching that guy out of respect to you guys. You know what I mean?
The thing too that totally lost my train of thought. You would think about Ayuk, I would have everything to say. I'll return to that if you guys want to keep going. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
And I was gonna they can keep him on the roster as long as he doesn't report correct until like 2027. So I mean they have all the leverage in this situation. And I know I guess some would say it's ruining his career, but I mean a millionaire, I don't really feel bad for people who have made a lot of money. It's like there was you guys know who Lewis Hamilton is, the F1 driver.
Yep.
And it's like he has been on podcasts and he'd be like, well, the world needs less billionaires, but it's like
dating a billionaire.
And it's like coming from you, you're worth 800 million, you know, your girlfriend is
$11 million cars.
Got Mr. Beast saying that he's broke, Mr. Beast. And I'm just like, really, bro?
It's just, you know, it may be sad if you're wronged and, you know, but it's the right message, the wrong messenger. And so coming from Brandon Ayuk, I don't necessarily feel that bad.
No.
One of the other things is there was this, and you know, bring up Grant. He released a story about this clique within the 49ers locker room that certain players are a part of that are close to Kyle and John or whatever, and he's not part of that. It's like, who gives a who cares?
Yeah, maybe because he's a fucking asshole.
Maybe you're weird. Maybe you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Maybe you're weird and you don't like fit in. That's your problem, not ours. Like, don't be weird. That's all you gotta be. Like, I'm a weird cat. I don't always fit in with certain groups of people. I could stop being a weirdo, or I could just not hang out with those people. I'm a weird cat. He's probably a weirdo. Maybe he's not a social person. Also,
not everyone's gonna get along when you have 100 players on the team, including practice squad. Not everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, bro, like we're all super tight. Like that's not how it works.
No job I've worked. I'm almost 47 years old. I've worked a million jobs. I didn't care. I would use the CM Punk approach where I go to money to make money. I'm not here to make money or make friends. I'm here to make money. That's all I ever went to work to do. I didn't want to hang out with you outside of work. Sorry. But if there happens to be people that are close at work that hang out with each other, who cares? The 80s 49ers were close. I mean, DeBartolo was close with Joe, Ronnie, Roger Craig, you know, Dwight Clark, all these other guys. They were winning Super Bowls. I know. Did any of the other players that were outside of that clique complain that Joe and all those players were close to those guys? No, nobody cared. To me, that's just another reason why he shouldn't have got that money. If you're that much of a sensitive little bitch that you're going to complain over something like that, whatever, dude. I don't understand that kind of mindset. Like, just hunker down, nose to the grindstone, go perform. And then if you don't want to be somewhere and you've played good enough to, you know, get a trade or whatever, then you facilitate it that way by being a professional. I have no sympathy for the guy whatsoever.
No,
and
he doesn't know what he wants, Aaron. This guy, remember, they wanted to trade him. They had a trade in place. And he's like, no, I don't want to go. Well, it's like, make up your mind. He's acting like a toddler. Doesn't want to get traded. Doesn't like the contract. What do you want, man? Since day one of these negotiations, he wanted to do a documentary about it because he thinks he's like, what? No, this whole thing is just a disaster. And I'm kind of dumb because I was a big advocate of re-signing him because I thought IU's potential was just through the roof. You know, 1,400-yard season,
top 5 wide receiver.
The way he would run routes, his yards after the catch, his hand, like everything was just pointing towards the sky for Ayuk. And I was like, there's no way we can replace that production. And, you know, but I didn't see all the inside stuff that was going on. And I'm sure that's why they were so hesitant on paying this guy, because they could see, you know, he wasn't a leader. You know, he wasn't a big, you know, meetings guy, being disrespectful, like doing little things like little microaggressions, you know, like the shorts thing, that's the only thing that we know. What other stuff was he doing behind closed doors?
Well, and that's what. Sorry, I mean, if you to cut you off, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, as I know that I'm starting to know this more and more as I'm following, college teams and being in locker rooms to certain teams. It's like, as a journalist, you really don't get like maybe 10% of the picture of what's actually going on. Guys immediately put their guard up when you're trying to interview them and ask their questions. Your questions. They're not friendly to you. Not a lot of guys in the locker room. And so what, Grant would be saying with the whole clicks, and it's like, that's a lot of it is just conjecture. I think that's the right word.
And that, that to me is a pot calling the kettle black. In his defense,
you don't know what goes on.
Like, Grant puts out stories he's a clickbaity kind of guy. Like, I wouldn't be I'm like, I hate to say this, but if I was an athlete, he's not one person I would want to talk to. I'll talk to the Matt Barrows or the Mayokas or, other guys, even Larry Krueger. There's certain people, like you said, my defense would be up if I know somebody's going to take a story and spin it and try to create some sort of headline for clicks. Like, I just rather not talk to that person. That's why certain players are very guarded when they talk to a guy, say, like Grant. So I totally understand. So, yeah, I'm sure one of these days someone will write a book or something will happen and we'll find out the whole story about BA. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And they're going to continue to do whatever they want, and I'm glad. People are like, oh, they need to let him go. The Niners are being petty. No, they're not.
I love how the Niners aren't even putting out statements. They're not talking about it. Like, because everybody, it's nothing to them. Like, don't give this thing life. Like, he wants to act like a moron. Let him do his thing and let him, like, project his attitude and his behavior to the world. They don't have to say anything. They could sit back and be like, look at this idiot,
Yep.
The Niners are totally in control of the situation. Everybody else is in their feelings. Go ahead.
They don't need, I'm going to say this has been providing us great content for the last, 2 summers? Because last summer, it was a big story of how his rehab was going and him. And then this summer, it's like, now, I mean, it's been fun for us because at least it's providing us something to talk about in the heart of June.
Yeah, if you have a channel that's searching, it is a click channel. Like, the Ayuk is like the never-ending gobstopper. You know what I mean? Of just content.
Well, and here's the thing I'll say is this discussion isn't about Grant, but locker rooms need guys like that. I think because they need pessimistic journalists. It makes it spicy. It makes it interesting. So, yeah.
I don't mind anybody that's trying to get how do I put this? Like, I like people to ask the hard questions as long as it's coming from a good place. If it's coming from a good place, I respect it. If it's coming from a place of, you're trying to create controversy or whatever, because the saying from wrestling back in the day is controversy creates cash. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I just think the thing with Ayuk too, I remember we were streaming last year. It was me and the Cover 3 guys, me, Sterling, and Dre. I was bitching and moaning all of last year, and Dre was getting pissed at me about. I was always complaining about injuries, and everybody that used to watch the podcast is like, "Oh my God, First Takes, all he does is bitch about the injuries, right?" So we started to talk about Ayuk, and I was like, "Something's up with Ayuk. Something's not going on around the season." Sterling's like, "No, nothing's going on. It's fine. It's just a blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, Sterling, something's going on behind the scenes." And then we get the story at the end of the season of exactly what happened. And I was like, I knew it. Because it was like, there was nothing. It was like a giant nothing burger. There was no updates. Like, they'd ask Kyle and he'd be like, no, not really any updates. If there is, I'll let you guys know. Like, you're right. It's been a good 2 years. And the Niners, if I'm the Niners, I go all the way up to week 1 and then I release him. And then he has to try to get in shape and be something of value to the Commanders if they're stupid enough to go make a move for him. Because you can't just like walk off, making videos with birds chirping to all of a sudden, catching touchdowns in the National Football League. You got to get your body right, So people trying to make story and making him out to be the victim, I think, is just absolutely infuriating and
at what point does it become like tampering, right? Because like He's posting
Right.
like him wearing like other team stuff. He's posting himself in the location of where the team is, saying, I'm going to be catching touchdown. Like, there's got to be a point where it's like, all right, bro, there's some tampering going on, and this is pretty obvious. And he's like shooting himself in the foot. I'm telling you, if I'm the Niners lawyers, I go after every penny this guy has and be like, he's doing it to himself. Like, you're proving our case for us. We don't have to do anything. We'll just show your social media posts and thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, which is why he took down the 2 posts on Instagram about him.
Well, yep.
I mean, that could be a possible reason. Also, I think that could
the
be
internet is forever, Ben. The internet's forever.
Your what is it? Your online footprint or whatever they say it lasts forever. But I will say, like, that's why if he goes to the Commanders, they could have reason to like tell the league or the Players Association, like, maybe you should look into this. But honestly, like, there's going to be so many teams desperate for a wide receiver that, except from the Commanders, like, I couldn't think of any maybe even the Titans. They just drafted the guy from Ohio State, but even like teams like the Titans, the Steelers have DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman, but after them, it's like there's no one. So like, I feel like there are a lot of teams like come week 6 or 7 that might, if he does get cut, that might actually take a shot on him. And if it works out, then hey, you've got yourself, a really good player. But I don't even know if it's going to be the Commanders at this point because of the risk of like if you pick him up, there might be possible investigations that ensue. So
I don't think the Niners would even care if there was tampering. They just, once he's off their hands, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a draft pick is going to benefit them anyways. I don't think if any, the league just takes it, doesn't like take it and give it to the 49ers. Like, here, somebody was tampering with your organization. I do find it weird though that he's got the gear on and he's talking about it, and he's got almost a surefire, like he knows it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That does sound like tampering. Like, how do you know this? How are you so sure they're going to take you?
And it might not even be to the point of like them caring about Washington losing a draft pick. It might be more for legal reasons of them trying to recoup even more money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
that's true. I didn't think about that.
Maybe if the league finds that, Washington did tamper, that helps the 49ers case into maybe getting some more money back. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just guessing here. But if I'm the 49ers, I try to find every avenue to get money back from Ayuk, from him bragging and boasting about how he stole money from the organization.
When it could be he's just doing this for attention. I mean, he doesn't know he's going to go for that team. And I think that's a very possible outcome. He's just out there.
He's acting like a scorned female got done dirty.
Yeah.
And is like posting all her drama on social media. And like the boyfriend's already moved on with his life. And it's
something you would do as a teenager.
Yeah, like he's doing fine. You're still stuck on it. Like you're supposed to be the one that's better in the situation, but yet you're the only one that's talking about it. Like, this, like the Niners, he's like a scorned girlfriend or a scorned lover, like who got rejected. And it's not like the Niners went out and replaced him. He got dumped because he quit on them. And like, whatever the 49ers do in this case is in the right. I don't see there's no situation you could explain to me that is going to make me pity Brandon Ayuk. I'm sorry. Once you sign a contract, you sign over your life and your rights. Sorry. That's just how it goes, and you're a millionaire. And if you don't want to do the job, then don't sign the contract. I don't know. To me, he just acts like a bitch.
I agree.
Man. JD Durham says, why would anyone except for the vet? Yeah, I wouldn't. Like, if he goes to the Commanders, I don't see him making a ton of money. I think a 1-year incentive-laden deal, unless Adam Peters is that dumb. If he's dumb enough to sign him to a big deal, like, we can handle him. You're an idiot. That's fireable offense. If that was the
everything you deserve, bro.
Yep. If you get fired, like if you make that move and he flatlines on your team too, and I'm the owner, because I know Magic Johnson is part owner of the freaking, I'm firing his ass with the quickness. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to make a move on a guy like him, I say 1 year, $8 million, and with incentives, it can go to like 12 to 13. I wouldn't do anything more than that. You can't trust him.
Pay this dude $8 million. That's
Plus,
wild.
he's coming off a knee. Like he lost his ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus,
and
I
his
think
brain.
his knee and his brain. That was what I said to one of the podcasts a couple weeks ago. I said, was his brain connected to his kneecap when it got tore up? Like,
Yeah.
did something happen? Like, do concussions?
Brainstem
Yeah.
came loose.
It's crazy. I mean, Peters signed Kinlaw. Yeah. Kinlaw.
Well, and if they sign him, I mean, their receiving core, I mean, Antonio Williams, who the receiver out of Clemson, who like probably one of the best spots he could have gone to. He was one of my favorite wide receivers coming out of the draft. And then, you know, you have him, you have Terry McLaurin on kind of on the last legs of his career. And then you have Brandon Ayuk, which that becomes a really underrated receiving core. That would kind of be exciting to watch if Brandon Ayuk can return to what he was or close to that.
I know Stephon Diggs has been rumored to them too, but now they're saying that the Rams might make a move on him. Of course the Rams would make a move on him. Sorry, I hate to ruin your
fit in.
They'd find a way. They'd find a way.
Well,
you know, that
third wide receiver.
But they have Atwell.
Maybe they
they lost him.
Oh, did they?
Because
where did he go?
I don't know, but their third receiver is Jordan Whittingham. I could double check that.
Okay.
But yeah, so that would be a really good place for him to go. You put Devontae Adams in the slot. Stephon outside.
I just ran Mike's night.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, it's a twofold question. I talked about this on Friday with the guys. With the situation that already happened with the Myles Garrett going to the Rams, and now we have the rumor that Aaron Donald could come out of retirement. One of the names that's being bandied about was Alex Highsmith from the Steelers, which I think would be a very, very 49er type move because he's actually a really good player, but he doesn't have quite the pull of some of the other guys. But he's a solid, like he's healthy. He gets
young,
sacks.
Right?
Yeah, he's youngish. Yeah, not super old.
I think he's 29 or something.
And they can get him for.
He's 29.
I mean, but I think he'd be a perfect fit, and you're not going to give up a first round pick. Like, in everybody's mind, the Max Crosby would be the only move. But like, you know, the Niners aren't going to give up that. Especially with him having some injury issues the last couple of years, and him going into his 30s. Like, I could see a move like that, and I actually would like it. Do you guys? I guess I'll ask Mike. Do you see? I already know what your answer could be. You find that as a realistic situation or no?
Probably not.
Mm.
I think the Niners really value their draft picks now. I don't know if they think that they think they know how to draft all of a sudden, but I don't see them giving up draft capital unless it's a mid-season trade, right? Like,
yeah,
if they find themselves in contention, maybe they go out and make a move depending on their record, but I think they want to wait to see what they have. They want to wait to see how this defense reacts to Raheem Morris and see what happens. I think it's a little bit of negligence to go into the season with Nick Bosa. I mean, I don't know how healthy he's going to be.
Right.
Michael's probably not going to come back till halfway during the season. And who are you going to use on that bookend on the other side? You're one Nick Bosa injury away from being in the exact same situation as you were last year.
Yep.
And you know, these rookies that we, you know, from last year, even, you know, Collins, West, Michael, all three of those guys, they're not pass rushers. You know what I mean? They're not there to get the quarterback. So you're relying on Cam Sample, Sam O, Keon White. If Nick Bosa misses time, those are your DNs.
Romello Height is there, but he's a rookie, and he's more of a situation
don't know what he
guy.
has. That's an absolute gamble, crapshoot, and you're expecting him to come in and generate pressure and sacks and all. Like that's a tall ask, right? So I think you can't really go into the season like that, but I think they are. I really think they're going to go into the season like that, and I think a move for Highsmith would be a mid-season trade, and depending on how they are, how their record is during that time.
How would you feel about a move like that? Would you be okay with a guy like Highsmith?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a young guy. He's proven. Out, you know me.
No
Even
big
if it's
injury history.
not a big injury history, he's got a motor on him. I would
So
I
the
would
Niners
welcome
are
it.
out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I would welcome a move like that because you know me. If they're drafting in the first 3 rounds, they're probably flushing that pick down the toilet anyway. So
What about you, Ben?
Here's the thing. I wouldn't blame them if they aren't aggressive, because the Niners aren't the only team. I mean, they have so many other holes. I mean, we're probably going to go into, I talked about this last night. We're probably going to go into week 1 with no George Kittle, a huge tight end hole. I mean, that's defensive end isn't even the biggest hole. Tight end is, I mean, Tonjes is great, but he is not a blocking tight end. And then behind Tonjes, it's rough.
oh, and
So
Tonjes,
tight
you got to
end,
help
and
block
then,
Myles Garrett too. By the way, just throwing that out there.
well, and that's the whole thing with the Myles Garrett trade. It's like
Week 1,
now
baby.
they've got Braden Fisk. I actually should pull up their depth chart. I had it pulled up, but their defensive line is going now. Their defense is very new, like especially their secondary has none of their secondaries really played together.
You got a really
So
bad wide macking core though, so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, it might look okay week 1, but the Niners, I don't think they're expecting to contend. It's like you're actually seriously talking about Connor Colby being a real possibility for this team. And it's like, and then Myles Garrett week 1, who is going to help chip block Myles Garrett? And then there's going to be a lot of situations like it was in the 2023 Super Bowl where there's going to be a guy along that Rams defensive line that's one-on-one with Connor Colby, or, you know, maybe a guard helps and slides over and tries to chip block Myles Garrett, and you might have a defensive tackle running free up the middle at
Don't forget Jake Brendel too, one-on-one.
Right. And it's like, and every single one of those guys on the Rams defensive line can win one-on-one, whether it's Byron Young, whether it's Braden Fisk, I have to look up the full defensive line.
They all demand like double teams, every guy on that line.
It's scary, man.
Here's the thing though, guys. I'll just say this. I'll be the positive person here.
Ooh, all right.
Still got to play the games. People can get hurt. I mean, the Rams, all the pressure is on the Rams to win the Super Bowl. One of their fans commented on something the other day, and he's like, you know, we're going to be coming after your quarterback. And I'm like, with Myles Garrett, and I was like, no, I said, yeah, it's true. You're 100% right. I said, but you know what? I said, there is no excuse that you can make if you guys don't win the Super Bowl. And he agreed with me. Like, all the pressure's on the Rams. The Niners are essentially an underdog this year. Nobody thinks the Niners are coming out of the West. The Niners don't have that pressure on them this year. I still think that they need a safety. And like Mike says, they need another edge piece. I think they need another 2 edge pieces, if you ask me. You know what I mean? I'd go out and get some run-of-the-mill, like, street, you know, a guy that gets cut at roster cut down, and then I would still make a trade. I think they need to make the trade for a defensive end before the season starts. You're really going to go into training camp with, like, the depth at edge the way that it is right now? It's just, I can't see that.
Yeah.
And then there's
you're gonna have to pressure Matthew Stafford, because if you give him even a little bit of time, Puka is gonna fuck us up.
Well,
like,
Puka's
that's a wrap.
Yeah, Puka's
like,
don't even.
Like, that's a wrap. And then I have a feeling they're not too hot. They're not too concerned about tight end, because I think they're gonna use Juice as like the tight end, right? The second tight end behind Tonjes, and they're gonna give him a lot of time on the field with Kittle being out. So I would expect to see a lot of Juice and him trying to chip Myles Garrett as well, which is not ideal.
Help.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
The thing is with contention, I really like the idea of making a midseason trade, but you look at the schedule here, and we all know it, but it's like 49ers, Rams, and then you're looking probably after 7 weeks, and then they have the bye week 8, which is a pretty good time because you can kind of assess your team right before the trade deadline. But you're probably looking at maybe 4-3 as the schedule. I'm predicting 4-3 after 7 weeks because it's Rams, Dolphins, Cardinals, Broncos, Seahawks. That's a really tough back-to-back.
I'll go 5-2 the first 7 weeks.
What'd you say?
If the Niners are healthy, I think they can go 5-2 in the first 7 weeks. I really do.
Yeah, so if they go 5-2, then maybe you're thinking of them making a midseason trade. But other than that, it's you have to be very cautious, because if you, like I said, with all the holes, and then you try to plug one of them, but your team has so many holes that even if you make one trade, it's probably not going to lead you to a Super Bowl. And if it's not going to lead you to a Super Bowl, might as well get a better draft pick. So,
Larry said something very similar to what you were saying. He said that the Niners, this is going to be an interesting season for the Niners, because this could be it for this core. They might be too old. We might find out this year that this core is done. He said that he wouldn't make a move at midseason. Like, the Niners have to show that they can make a run of this thing. You're not going to make a move just to make a move, because if this core looks like they're shot at midseason, you got to start planning for the future. And if you're going to make a move for a guy like Crosby, you're essentially going to say, like, if we don't get it with Crosby here on the team, it's over. Like, it's the end of the road. And so this is going to be an interesting season. Like, when you get to week 8, week 10, Mike and Ben, and the Niners have a good winning record, I'd see them make a move. But if they're like at 500 and they look old and they look slow and they're hurt again, they're not moving on from any draft picks. They're going to need every single one, whether they hit on them or not. So
yeah, that's why I'm a little confused, because I don't know like what they're trying to do. Like,
what's the plan this year? I don't
know
either.
You have like this aging core. You know, these guys are on the last legs, like their last chance to go get a Super Bowl, but they're like kind of rebuilding, but they're like not, and it's like what are you guys doing? That's what's frustrating for me. I don't understand the direction that they're trying to go, especially because we don't know if Bosa is going to be here next year. They owe him $100,000 million. You know,
I have a question to both of you though. Do you think that they still have like replacement core players, young players? I think Alfred Collins is, once he develops and his body type, he's going to be crazy. Like, I think, contrary to popular narrative, I do think that there are some core players on this team that could be really good. So like I just said, Alfred Collins, especially defensively. You've got what's his name? The nickel Stout. You've got,
I really like him.
Lenore, obviously. You've still got Fred Warner, who still has a couple more years. Offensively, we're looking at, I mean, okay, offensively is kind of where I'm like,
we're really old on offense.
Yeah.
Trent,
we need another tight end. Tonjes might develop, but Trent's gone. We don't have anything in the making for Trent.
Hey, next year's draft is supposed to be loaded, so.
Oh, it's a very highly talented draft next year. If the Niners are going to hold on to their picks and go crazy next year, I'm okay with that. So, on offense, we're old. Defense, we're still relatively young, and I think Fred Warner's still got another good 10 years left. Fred Warner's
got some time.
Nick Bosa, we wouldn't even be talking about this core being done if Nick Bosa could not blow his knee out every other year, right?
Yeah.
So Trent's old.
Next year we could possibly need 2 defensive ends, like 2 completely new ones. So there's nothing in the wings there either.
And that's where you might see a trade, like a surprising, I don't know, some trade where we trade an older core piece for maybe a first round pick.
Mayoka said something about that. Like, within the next 2 years, don't be surprised. Trent Williams retires. Kyle Juszczyk might be gone. Kittle might go. He wants to be here his whole career, but can his body hold up? The one thing I will say, and I agree, is the Niners are way too loyal to players over winning sometimes. Like, are we going to move on to these players, or are you going to stay loyal to these guys even though they have nothing to offer anymore? Like, you got to be able to cut the cord and hey, if your relationship with that player is going to suffer for a couple years until they retire, then so be it. Like, that's my biggest fear, is can John make that move to be like, hey, Kittle, I love you. You've done everything for this organization, but you don't got it anymore. We're going to let you go. They have those things. It's coming. It's really coming. The rent's coming due, and they got to pay for it eventually. So this is going to be a crazy year. They could either 2 ways. They can be competitive and be in the mix, or they can be what you said, a team that's struggling to get into the playoffs and then we got to have another whole discussion in the next offseason of like, is this a complete rebuild or whatever? So, but
they ought to find a defensive coach that can stay there for at least like 3 years too.
Right.
And I know the linebackers coach, what's his name? The ex Seahawks linebacker.
KG, right?
Oh,
KJ. Yeah. I mean, that's someone who
he's going up the ranks fast.
I would really, really like to see him, but we need to stop. Like, I mean, I get it's really good to bring in a guy from outside who knows the system and who's tested, but like, how long does what's his name have on this team before he now leaves to try to?
Well, if they suck the next couple of years, he can stay.
Yeah.
Problem with the Niners, they'll just be good enough for him to get another job next year. But that's going to do it, guys. I'm going to let you guys go because I got to go make dinner myself, and I know Mike's got to get going. Next time, Ben, we have you on, we'll hopefully have your technical difficulties all straightened out.
My webcam stopped working, but it was fun with the time that I was here, and I don't know why my computer's so weird.
It's okay, man. I have technology. Me and Mike had a problem a couple of weeks ago where it was Mike had no audio because his audio something was up. So he's like, your mic's not working. Your mic's not working. And all of a sudden he's like, it was me. Sorry. But we'll see you guys down the road, me and Mike, on the next 49ers Unfiltered podcast. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's getting slow. The offseason has come to a full screeching halt. Ben, we'll do something in the future sooner rather than later,
for sure.
Especially with training camp coming. If you're available, I'm down. We can even have you on the Cover 3 podcast on Friday if you're available. But until next time, everybody, stay safe.
Mike,
and healthy.
really quick. What's your Twitter or X?
Oh, my Twitter is at 4th and Gold, and my X is at SF Gold Rush. So I'm on.
Okay.
But I changed my YouTube handle to at 4th and Gold to try to make it all one. But on X, I'm actually at SF _ Gold Rush 1.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No problemo. All right, guys. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Peace.